Good morning, everyone. I'm Commissioner Marita Davis Johnson. I chair the Ops Committee, County Operations Committee. The members on the committee with me is Commissioner Adina Bowden. This is probably the first time that she ever beat me to a meeting, you know? And that Commissioner Robert Patrick, who is on his way. And so with that, we're going to start the meeting with the approval of the minutes. Have you had an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes, ma'am. And at this time, I move to approve item 0370.
And I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the minutes approved. The new agenda item, CEO 261070. All commission districts request for proposal number 2026-006, constituent financial empowerment services, 3-year, multi-year contract with one option to renew for use by the Office of the CEO to obtain home ownership counseling, financial literacy, and credit counseling for county residents and small businesses. Recommend award to the highest scoring proposal, Operation Hope, Inc., amount not to exceed $929,460.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll be carrying this item this morning, and what it is as indicated, it's essentially purchasing the services of Operation Hope for a total of $929,460, and what they will be responsible for doing is providing home ownership, technical assistance, and financial literacy to DeKalb County residents, which would help them in many instances in securing homes and starting and expanding businesses and overall financial management of various households. The service will be delivered in 2 primary ways. One is classroom training. This will be individual classroom sessions that will take those who apply, and also case management. So there'll be individual case management where each adult in a household will be entitled to 3 individual counseling sessions. They will include long-term tracking. So as we go through the implementation of the program, we'll be able to have metrics in terms of home ownership and really how the training and how the program worked for the families. So this is part of our overall strategy, dealing with not only people who are unhoused and underhoused, but the need to develop stronger financial literacy throughout the county.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
I think this is a really good start to help and improve homeownership in our communities. But I did want to ask how that would impact the work that the county is doing with NACA. We've done quite a bit over the past couple of months. It haven't even been a year. We still have some stuff that happened on Saturday, some programming in September. I think so far in between February and March, maybe about 15,000 families were helped. And of course, with NACA, we know they do not just the counseling, training, case management, but they also help families to identify homes, to get the funding, and to move into those homes. So can you just talk through how this would impact the other relationships?
I think it's additive, if that's the right word. It's in conjunction with. They do have some similar services being provided.
For free.
And so we will continue the relationship with NACA, but I believe and I think NACA is primarily aimed at that home ownership counseling, but the financial literacy, the credit counseling, and really the technical assistance for small businesses are going to be key components that this will offer that really expands on those services from NACA.
Okay, and then hold on, let me finish my notes, small business technical assistance. And then the other thing is, especially considering with Operation Hope, the addition of small businesses, I believe it was in 2019, Super 7, at that time, Commissioner Cochran Johnson worked with Operation Hope to help get, I think, about $20 million in funding toward first-time home buyers and other things. So at the culmination of this program, will there be some similar investment or throughout?
Will there be, from Operation Hope, will
Yeah.
there be similar investments in terms of infusing millions of dollars of?
Back into either homeownership, but in particular, small business
This doesn't speak,
development?
this does not speak directly to that, but I think
Okay.
our relationship with John Hope Bryant, right, and his firm and Operation Hope has borne fruit in the past. We anticipate continuing that relationship. So wherever possible, I am certain that they will continue to work with the county, to increase home ownership.
And my last question is, how many families or individuals or businesses do we anticipate can be helped with?
We'll have to get that number because a lot of the homeownership counseling and financial literacy is going to be based on kind of first come, first serve in classrooms. And then from there, they will, some number of them will take advantage of individual case management. But we'll get you a number before tomorrow in terms of what our best estimate is, but it's still going to be an estimate.
Okay, and so the amount, the $929,000, is based more so on their calculation of how much time or
Exactly.
investment they will make, but not necessarily the product
I
that's
think
produced.
that's an accurate statement, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I
Thank
yield
you.
back.
And I would just like to throw in that what we didn't have when we were dealing with Operation Hope before was a housing czar,
Right.
a housing director
Right.
that can coordinate and put all of the different moving pieces together.
And this
And
will be
so-
managed by.
And that would be, and this is just one of the moving pieces when it comes to housing. And welcome. This is the one that's always late, but we always welcome him when he gets here.
Well,
Thank
and
you.
and he didn't have time to shave.
Thank you all. Wow. Happy Monday to everybody else.
Okay.
Just a reminder that 285 Spaghetti Junction is in District 1, and so that's always a challenge,
okay.
Getting through that.
Okay.
But acknowledging my colleagues' questions and comments that she made, I know through Decide DeKalb, we had put some money aside for small businesses, a loan program, and Decide DeKalb sort of backfilled that with business training, helping people get up to speed on operating a business. Sometimes when you have one program, it can be very focused, but if you have multiple programs, it has sort of a wider catch. And so that basically want to say is I approve of this. I think this is a great idea. And again, this follows up with that notion of more opportunities, a wider catch to be able to engage with our residents and hopeful small business owners as well. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move to approve item 1070.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That item is approved. The next item is 260899, All Commission Districts, Renewal Contract Number 1384497, Chiller Inspection, Repair, Preventative Maintenance, Service, second renewal of 2 options to renew for use by the Department of Facility Management to obtain inspections, repair, preventative maintenance services for county chillers. Exercising second option, renewal option through July the 31st, 2027, awarded to Daikin Applied Americas, amount not to exceed $400,000. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. This renewal is for our chiller contract, which is very important to the county. It supports our chiller systems and cooling towers throughout our big buildings like the Maloof, the courthouse, the courts, the police and fire headquarters. Lou Walker has a cooling tower. So this is to renew that, take that option and renew it for another year to provide that service.
Any questions? Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I do. Do we know the general age of a lot of the chillers and equipment? So my ultimate question is what's the point at replacement, and are we still within repair on a lot of these?
Yes, we have, usually in SPOS funds in the last 7 or 8 years, we have replaced chillers, and we're putting those on the CIP. Anything that's aged, we are replacing those. So 15, 20 years is probably your timeline for useful life for these. So we do that in the CIP and SPOS.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve 0899.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is 261006, All Commission Districts Change Order to Contract Number 2000195, Maintenance, Repair, Operations, Supplies, Parts, Equipment, Material, and Related Services Cooperative Agreement, multi-year with 2 options to renew for use by the Department of Facility Management, Watershed, Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Affairs, Police Services, Property Appraisal and Assessment, Fire Rescue, Sanitation, Beautification, DeKalb County Emergency Management, Voter Registration and Election, Fleet Management, seeking to add E911 and Animal Services as users to the contract and to increase contract funds awarded to WW Ganger, Inc., amount not to exceed $2,105,000.
Yes, this is, Granger is a major supplier of operating supplies for the county, so there's multiple departments on this contract, and we're asking to renew that contract for another year.
Okay, and is that contract, was that a $2 million contract for all, or is that the addition to, well, I should ask this, the addition to and adding E911 and Animal Services
Yeah, that's the total amount for all the departments.
for all of the departments?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, are any other questions?
I just want to say that's impressive that we're adding 2 additional departments, but the request is less than the original. Did you negotiate for less?
We try to negotiate prices with Granger because we buy a lot, so. I don't know if that was specifically negotiated, but, yeah, we do ask for discounts when we go buy supplies.
Okay. I see you. I yield back.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve 1006.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next item is 261061, change order number 1 to contract number 2000789, on-call heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, annual contract with 2 options to renew for use by the Department of Facilities, Recreation, Parks, Cultural Affairs, Watershed Management, Fire Rescue, to provide on-call HVAC services, seeking to add human services to the contract and increase contract funds and scope to repair and replace condensers units at Lou Walker Senior Center, amount awarded to Max Air Mechanical LLC, amount not to exceed $70,000.
Madam Chair, Purchasing requested that we do agenda item 2026-0953 if we can approve that before this one, because there's a change to the contract in
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Purchasing and contracting requested that we actually put agenda item 2026-0953, which is the on-call heating and ventilation and air conditioning annual contract for renewal, to do that one first before this contract, because we're actually changing some scope.
What page is that on? Top of page.
Yeah,
Okay.
top of 4.
Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, 260953, All Commission Districts Renewal Contract Number 1384963, 1384581, and 1384955, on-call heating and ventilation and air conditioning. Annual contract with 2 options to renew for use by the Department of Facility Management, Recreation, Parks, Cultural Affairs, Watershed Management, and Fire Rescue to provide on-call HVAC services, exercising second renewal option through July the 31st, 2027, and authorizing a consent to assignment of contract 1384955 to Maxair Mechanical LLC, awarded to B&W Mechanical Contractors, Man Mechanical Company LLC, and Gagan HVAC Mechanical Services, Inc., total amount not to exceed $3,440,000. Has this come back from audit?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Was it supported?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, and also Galgon HVAC Mechanical Services was purchased by Maxair, so the change is going to be from Galgon to Maxair for the name change.
Okay. Do you all have any questions?
No.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve 0953.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll go back to 1061. We've already read it, so if you want.
Okay, this change order is for human services for Lou Walker Senior Center. So the scope of work in the HVAC contract doesn't specifically detail that they can service refrigeration equipment such as the walk-in coolers and the walk-in freezers. So what this allows is Maxair to come in and do repairs on the walk-in coolers and the walk-in freezers at Lou Walker Senior Center. And it's going to add that scope, and then we're adding $70,000 to the contract to allow them to go in and do repairs, because we are doing repairs to the kitchen and buying new appliances. So this will help bring the kitchen up to specs.
It was my understanding that we're getting new appliances.
We are, yes.
So
There's a
this
lot
is
of new
to-
appliances being purchased for
Okay,
that.
and
yes.
this is to repair or maintain?
This is actually to go in and do repairs, because the walk-in coolers, you can actually replace the condenser units, the cooling part, the compressors, and the equipment in it. You don't have to replace the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
It's not, a cooler's pretty good size. They're walk-in, like 8 by 10, so it's basically redoing it. You're not replacing the insulation part or the door. You're putting just a new condenser unit in.
Okay, I get you. Any, oh,
Yep.
It's like an elevator.
Yeah, it's like an elevator, yeah. You're just doing the guts. Yeah.
And I just want to clarify, the 70,000 is strictly for the condensers, and the other upgrades to the kitchen are coming from another
They're
source?
separate, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's a separate deal, yeah.
I yield back.
okay. Do you have anything?
No questions.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve 1061.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, thank you. Okay, innovation and technology. Good morning. 260937, all commission districts. Change order to contract number 1150081. DeKalb license and support sole source for use by the Department of Innovation and Technology to obtain licenses and support services to GCAT software for the county, seeking increase in contract funds and term through December the 31st, 2029. Order to Kenyon Solutions, Inc., not to exceed $233,178.75.
Hey, good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. We're requesting approval to extend contract terms through 12/31/2029, which is 3 years, with Canyon Solutions. This change order is necessary to continue the licensing, the maintenance, and technical support for the county's existing JCATS, which stands for Justice Case Activity Tracking System, which is used by our juvenile court. So yeah, we're just extending the contract for an additional 3 years.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, and that includes maintenance, any updates?
Yes.
All of the whole 9 yards to go with that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I see that the first change order was in September 2019. With the change orders, are there opportunities to renegotiate these contracts, or do we need, I see that it's a sole source, but I would assume if we were to do a new contract, we can negotiate some of the terms, because we've been with them for a while now.
Yes, and that's something we can look into. I'll check with purchasing to see if that has been done, if we've negotiated some of the terms, but yeah, I can check on that for you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I yield back.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve item 0937.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 260945, all commission districts, cooperative agreement, multiple award schedules, contract number GS35F0119W for use by the Department of Innovation and Technology to obtain license subscriptions for all Red Hat Ansible products utilized throughout the county. Awarded to Emergent LLC not to exceed $204,907.
Yes, so we use Red Hat Ansible to manage the county's Microsoft Active Directory environment, which includes the provisioning and the configuration of the users, the groups, the organizational units, and security policies that manage like the groups within Outlook. So the software also automates security updates for our Windows servers, improving operational efficiency, security, and compliance. And we're seeking a 1-year renewal for this.
Any questions?
Can you just clarify the difference between the last item, 0937, and this one, 0945, since they're both to obtain license subscriptions?
So 0937 is a renewal for the JCATS system that juvenile court uses.
Juvenile court, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
And 0945 is the tool that IT uses to manage the users and the groups throughout the county through Active Directory.
Okay, and that's all other users outside of juvenile
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
all users within the county.
within the county? Thank you, sir. I yield back.
Okay. Do you have anything?
No questions.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve item 0945.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 260989, all commission districts change number 2 to contract number 1343032, software and auxiliary services for use by the Department of Innovation and Technology to obtain software licenses and technical support to cover all new and existing Microsoft products utilized by the county. Seek an increase in contract funds and terms through August the 31st, 2029. Awarded to SHI International Corporation, amount not to exceed $18,927,592.89. Has that come back?
It has not come back yet, no.
Okay, so it's in audit. Is there a motion? Well, it haven't come back from audit, but you wanna, yeah, I mean, yeah, when it comes back from audit, you may have additional questions. Yeah, so is there a motion?
Motion to hold in committee? Pending.
Second.
Okay, motion to hold in committee, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 260998, all commission districts change order number 2 to contract number 1254433, secure signing enterprise plan, sole source for use by the Department of Innovation Technology to obtain digital signature solution services for the county, ratifying a previously provided contract term, increase in contract funds and term through July the 12th, 2029, awarded to secure signing limited amount not to exceed $105,940.
Yes, we're seeking to extend the term through July 12th, 2029, to continue providing secure electronic signature services for the entire county. The solution supports the execution, the routing, and the management of electronically signed documents while maintaining compliance with the law department, or with the law.
Would that include our offices as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So for any contracts that need to be routed and signed, we're using this software to do that.
Okay.
I know that we use a lot of Adobe products and Microsoft products. Those products don't cover this need right here already?
Not to the extent that this does for the routing,
Okay.
yes. So there is an electronic signature within Adobe, but this handles the routing from one stage to the next for certain contracts.
Okay, I think that County Attorney Terry has
Yes.
comment.
Mr. Shelton, if you would
Yes.
help us, I just want to explain from a technical legal perspective
Absolutely.
how significant this is.
Thank you.
Often we route internal documents using this software, ordinances and the like. We also route contracts to vendors and outside parties as well as the internal parties. Just from a practical layperson's perspective, my understanding is the purchasing department will set up the order for execution. This software will allow the document to automatically route and ensure that it's executed by all the parties in the right place, in order, so that the county gets it executed the way they want to. And there's a significant security component with this software as well. I just wanted to share that because he
Thank you.
referenced the legal compliance part.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve 0998.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That item is approved. 26-1000, all commission districts to change order. Number 1, the contract number 2000149, Pure Master Software and Hardware Upgrade Sole Source for use by the Department of Innovation and Technology to obtain maintenance and upgrade services to the existing Pure Master system, seeking increase the contract term funds and term through December 31st, 2030, awarded to Syntac Systems, Inc., amount not to exceed $532,572.
Yes, and we've requested that this agenda item be removed or deferred while we work on the numbers, making sure this number is correct.
Do you want it withdrawn and
Let's pull it,
brought
yes,
back?
please. Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to withdraw?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion is withdrawn. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a previously heard item. We've already completed 0952. Now we're on discussion. We're going to only discuss the standing procedure rules this morning. Okay, we've been working on these standard procedure rules for a while. Hopefully we can get through them today. Oh. Yeah, we've been working on these standard procedure rules for a while, and hopefully we can get through them today. Okay, so let's talk about what we have already discussed and agreed upon for final list to be voted on by the full board. You want to discuss that, or you want me to discuss it?
From here, or you want me to?
Yeah. We're going to put you in the hot seat.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
All right, you all have been working on this for quite some time, and predates me even being on this board, but you all have been going through pretty consistently and really seeking to, working to reach consensus on a number of areas, and you all have been having these discussions. And I think we're at the place now, thank you, where you can go through, if you have the memo dated 7/9/26, standing procedural rules, consensus items. These are items where you, as a committee, have come together and had robust discussions and landed on a consensus here. So if we can just start at the first one, items with consensus from the committee. It's in the meetings and attendance section under number 3, elections. And what I'll do is I'll read what is currently in the blue book, and then we'll read what looks like the consensus, and the consensus language will be as well. So meetings and attendance, if you go to that, and then under number 3, elections. If you have that in your blue book, I think everyone has.
These blue books are not numbered.
Marcus, could you
Pages are
get Commissioner
not-
Patrick?
oh.
Yeah, that's one of the things we need to probably look at, numbering them, because it's really
Right.
difficult.
We want to number the pages.
Trying to find that. So we're
Okay,
going to
thank
make a
you.
note of
So
the
that
new
would be on
edition.
the, okay, elections 3. Okay, got it.
Okay. It currently reads, at the first regular meeting in January of each year, the commission shall elect from its membership a presiding officer and a deputy presiding officer. The memo, if you look at the memo, it adds some language here, and I'll just read that out completely. It keeps the beginning part at the first regular meeting in January of each year. The commission shall elect from its membership a presiding and deputy presiding officer. That remains the same. Then it adds, the newly elected presiding officer and deputy presiding officer shall assume their roles at the end of the meeting in which they were elected.
Okay.
So that just gives specificity of when they will begin to take their leadership role.
Okay.
Okay.
That is, so that'll be brought back. That'll be brought.
Brought forward as consensus, yes. All right, the next section is still under meetings and attendance, so if you would just go to number 8, night committee of the whole meetings. Now, this section, I think it's better just to read the new language because it really changes a lot on here versus going back from the original language. The Board of Commissioners, this is the new language under the memo, the Board of Commissioners may allow 3 meetings of the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners. And then it just adds in brackets here, Committee of the Whole, meeting to be held at 5:30 p.m. These meetings may be held during the months of February, June, and October. And the location of these meetings shall be at different locations, that's specifying a little bit more, around the county to allow for more citizen involvement. During the 3 night meetings of the Board of Commissioners, the Committee of the Whole, the board shall allow for public comments. The public comment section of the meeting shall start at 6:30 p.m. and last for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
That was a consensus.
That's
as
consensus as well?
Madam Chair, if I may, a very minor tweak you may want to consider. You list may be held during the months of February, June, and October. I think it should say February, June, and/or October.
October.
In case you don't do all 3.
Right.
It gives you the flexibility.
So if I would add, Commissioners, I'm thankful for our county attorney giving his suggestions like that. I would ask that you continue to do that because I think that's going to be critical. One of the things after, I know he will. I just want to give him freedom in case he
Okay.
thinks I'm looking at him funny.
Okay.
Why he keep jumping in or something like that. You're okay, Terry. Right, right. It never stopped him before, but I'm just,
Okay.
you
Okay.
And on top of that as well, after all of this consensus, we'll give it back to the county attorney to review to make sure all the language does fit. from
Yeah,
a legal
okay.
perspective.
So we just putting
Yeah,
October.
okay.
I do have one.
Okay.
Where it discusses the locations and the location of these meetings shall be at different locations, why is shall in brackets?
Why is what?
Shall, why is it in brackets?
I can say that if I like, to make sure that it is done, and it's not an option, that it shall be at different locations each meeting. So if you put will, or if you put may, it's not as definite.
Well, it's not the word that I'm concerned with.
It's the
So
brackets.
there, shall is in brackets, but then below where it says the board shall allow for public comments, that is not, and that seems more confirmatory to me without the bracket, which is why I was asking
Oh,
with
okay.
respect to
Then we-
location, why is there a
I
bracket?
don't know why it's in the bracket.
And this memo was prepared by John Manson. He's out, and so I go back to the county attorney. We'll look at those and where some of the brackets, because there are a few of them in here, where it doesn't make sense, we'll pull them out. So there's no specific reason that I'm aware of in terms of the brackets. Terry May.
If I may, Madam Chair? If I
yeah.
may? I was just going to say, my recollection, Dr. Bolton, is the way some of the language was crafted was to capture discussion. the final version might not have all these brackets.
Right.
But I think a real discussion point was the purpose of having these was to move it to people in the evening who may not be able to come to your regular meetings during the day in Decatur. That's been a part of this dialogue as I've followed your discussion.
And then I would also assume that the brackets would be that if we wanted to change shall to may or will. Yeah.
And the only thing that I want, that may need to be clarified, but this might only be a me thing, whether this indicates each of the 3 meetings need to be at a different location or just a different location from where our regular Tuesday meetings are, because we've had 2 evening meetings at Lou Walker.
We have, but they have rotated around. We have not had 2 consecutive meetings at New Walker.
So that kind of speaks to what I'm saying, whether the 3 meetings themselves need to be in different locations, or is it okay if we just cycle them around and then repeat a location, even though it's only 3, just, that would be the only thing, just clarifying that a little bit. I yield back.
Okay.
Mr. May, do you want me to wait on?
Yeah, we can go ahead. Go ahead.
I will just, for Dr. Bolton, I'm sorry. For Dr. Bolton, if you would look at the language before you, I'm going to suggest something to capture what I understood you to articulate a second ago. In the 3rd full line, you have the conjunction "and" after the months. So we now have February, June, and/or October in the 3rd line. And the location of these meetings shall be at a different locations is plural, right? So you would say, and the location of each of these meetings shall be at a different, and that would specify each one must be different than the other. You couldn't have 3 meetings at Lou Walker, just as an example, Madam Chair. I understood you to articulate that nuance. Is that language satisfactory to specify it?
And it's my understanding that you're talking about consecutively, because when we come back, after the 3 meetings, we come back, we still may have the one back at Lou Walker after having been to other locations in the county. Like we could have them at, where we have them in Brookhaven City Hall. You know, I mean, after you go to the other location, you can go back to Brookhaven. It's not the, we just don't want them consecutively.
I would offer this, the way the language is crafted now, including the slight tweak that we just added, each year, 3 meetings in different locations would be held.
Right.
The
Each
next year,
right. I got
you may have those same 3 locations again.
Right. I
But
got
each
you.
year,
Yeah.
it would be 3 different locations. That's
Okay.
what's drafted. I don't mean
Right.
to try to make a
You're
decision.
right.
I want to
You're
be
right.
clear about what I've understood
right.
and why
Each
this
year.
language works.
Yeah.
And
each
Commissioners, if I could, I think that captured the spirit of that. It's not fully captured in here that these will be annual. So I think in your language.
year. Isn't
let's
it
just
each
make sure.
year?
I don't see where it says each year in here, but I think it's presumed. Yeah, it's implied. Yeah,
So you
absolutely.
may want to just put each.
Yeah,
Well,
you may just-
annually
yeah.
is yearly. Yeah. Okay, that works. Okay, let's move on.
All right, so that's meetings and attendance. That's Section 8, night committee of the whole meetings. Let's move on to Section 9 of that same area, inclement weather. Again, I'm going to just read the new language. Well, I'll read the old language because it's just a brief sentence. The old language states, in the event of inclement weather that would preclude a meeting of the Board of Commissioners, the decision to cancel the meeting shall be based upon the closure of county operations. It's pretty simple, but I think it lacks a bit of the nuance that you all have reflected in the new language. The new language says, in the event of inclement weather or an emergency that would preclude an in-person meeting of the Board of Commissioners, The decision to cancel the meeting or to hold the meeting in a remote format shall be based upon the closure of county operations. The Open Meetings Act applies to commission meetings, but the commission will allow attendance via teleconference, Zoom, or other electronic means, so long as such attendance complies with the requirements of the Open Meetings Act as it is codified today or may be hereafter amended.
Okay. Okay.
All right, if we're fine with that. Good.
Just a question for your consideration. I'm sorry, Dr. Bolton.
I would just say if we could remove Zoom, because that's a specific brand and/or vendor, but the other things, teleconference, other electronic means, virtual attendance, something like that, but not a specific vendor or product.
I agree. That's a good call out. Yeah.
So it's teleconference or other electronic. That's good.
Madam Chair, may I pose a question for the committee's consideration? The Open Meetings Act requires the declaration of an emergency in order to hold a remote meeting. This indicates that you will comply with the Open Meetings Act, but the closure of county operations is a very different standard. So I just thought I'd pose this question to you as a group. You could face a rare circumstance where there are some county operations open, but a state of emergency declared. And I just want to be clear about county operations. We never close. We close certain things, but
Okay.
obviously first responders are constantly open.
Right.
How nuanced do you want that decision to be as a group?
That's good.
Yeah, well, I think that we've already discussed it, so whatever needs to be tweaked in there, you should be able to do it, because we've already discussed this.
Okay.
If I could follow up with that, whatever reference that you just cited for open meetings and acknowledging that, the stated closure is handled by the CEO's office, may be something that contemplates or acknowledges that, so that whoever's here after us can look back to it and know where to go to.
We've left room for the law changing. The end of this provision as written is not that precise, because if that law changes, we'll just follow what the new law is without having to change your rules. I was really thinking if you guys ever decided to cancel it and we had operations open, do you want to box yourselves in, or do you want to leave that as a possibility? Right now, you cancel for a variety of reasons. This is a supplement to being able to just cancel at your discretion. So it doesn't have to be here. That's my reading.
Well, I just say that these are items that we've already discussed, that we've already had consensus. These are items that we've already discussed, that we've already had consensus. And so anything further than a tweak is going to open it back up. We've had all of the commissioners here. We've discussed it. So I said, let's tweak it rather than change it the way that you would see fit in the county's office, in the county attorney's office, for it to be legal.
Duly noted.
Okay. Okay.
All right, well, that takes care of the meetings and attendance area section of the Blue Book. If we could move on to the parliamentary rules, and we will go to number 4. Number 4 is the full reading of purpose for agenda item. The current version, if we're ready for that, the current version reads, "No motion may be heard nor any action taken on an agenda item without a full reading by the chair of the listed subject and purpose for the agenda item." The new version takes into consideration a little bit more depth in terms of understanding that actual rule. It states, "No motion may be heard nor any action taken on an individual item without a reading of the listed subject and number for the agenda item." So it doesn't just say full, it says reading of the listed subject and number of the agenda item. This rule shall not apply to the consent agenda, which can be adopted in whole or in part through a single motion and with a single reference to the details that are included in the printed agenda.
Any? Okay.
Yeah, just a question. So recently, we've had our BOC meetings run quite long, and we haven't been able to get to committees, which means when we come back to the BOC for the next hearing, we have a list of items that hadn't been heard in committee, and we've sort of just been reading out the case caption. Does that keep us still with that ability to do that if it's like a deferral item, that we can still just read out the agenda number and then move forward, or is this?
Yes.
I think, in fact, this language helps with that process to specify that it's permissible, given that it takes out some of the larger language that's existing now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you have something?
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that item is fine. So we deal with that. Okay, agenda. Okay.
So now we're, section 3, we're moving on from parliamentary rules to agenda and preliminary items. And if you would see number 1, agenda publication, just continue on to subsection A as an apple. I'm going to read the new language here, if you would, if you have it. The presiding officer or designee will issue a call for proposed agenda items pursuant to a schedule set by the clerk. Each item shall be presented at a committee of the whole meeting prior to the commission meeting at which the item is to be introduced and voted on. The committee of the whole shall accept the item for inclusion on the agenda for the next commission meeting upon one commissioner's request. If accepted for inclusion on the agenda, the committee of the whole may recommend deferral on the agenda item to a committee, in which case the item either is placed on the agenda for the next commission meeting as a preliminary item with a recommendation to go to a committee, or if required by law, notice or advertising, is placed on the public hearing or appeals portion of the agenda with a recommendation to go to a committee.
Questions, comments?
That's it is.
Let's go. Let's read it again.
All right. Now, I will say this, if we could put I don't know if we want to put a pin in it, because the second memo really would adjust all of this.
Okay.
And so it's up to your discretion, Madam
Okay.
Chair, with the other agenda
How does it
items for
differ
discussion.
from the last one?
Well, this, how does this differ from the last one? From what's in the blue book?
Okay, let's read it once more.
Okay, let
Take
me
a little
read.
bit.
Yeah,
Take
I'll
it
read the entire.
Sentence by sentence.
I'm reading from the memo.
Memo.
Let's do that. So you're going to read, okay, you look at the blue book, and while I'm reading this, and tell me where it differs. The presiding officer or designee will issue a call for proposed agenda items pursuant to a schedule set by the clerk. Each item shall be presented at a committee of the whole meeting prior to the commission meeting at which the item is to be introduced and voted on. We're tracking the same so far?
Exactly the same.
Okay. The committee of the whole shall accept the item for inclusion on the agenda for the next commission meeting upon one commissioner's request. If accepted for inclusion on the agenda, the committee of the whole may recommend deferral of the agenda item to a committee, in which case the item either is placed on the agenda for the next commission meeting as a preliminary item with a recommendation to go to a committee, or if required by law, notice or advertising, is placed on the public hearing or appeals portion of the agenda with a recommendation to go to a committee.
No change.
No change.
Maybe that was the consensus?
Oh.
Word for word.
It looks like it was some grammar, some grammatical things there. Yeah, McKenzie is saying there's some capitalization here and all of that, so.
PO and for presiding officer and
Okay. So the only thing that was changed is the capitalization in the P and the O of presiding officer.
Okay.
By unanimous consent. Let's go to item 3. We're still in agenda and preliminary items. This is superseding agenda. This is number 2 now. Superseding agenda. Okay, Okay, I'll read the old and then we'll read the new as well. The agenda old in the blue book states the agenda as prepared by the clerk may be reordered upon official action of the commission. The chief executive officer or designee, a constitutional officer or designee, or an individual commissioner may, upon motion of any commissioner, withdraw from the agenda an item that he or she has sponsored, so long as the withdrawal occurs before the item is finally acted upon by the commission.
It looks like there was just a change from chief executive officer.
CEO.
Yeah, to CEO.
Yeah, these are more just capitalizations here.
Can I, Madam Chair, I just want to ask one quick question. On item 3, Roman numeral 3, agenda and preliminary item, if we have an emergency walk-on item, which happens from time to time, how does that?
Every now and then?
Yeah. And it's rare, but, I could see, there's grant money or whatever, it's rare that things are walked on for a vote, but it does happen. So I just want to see how does that comport with what's written here.
And we are, item 3A, is that what you're, okay.
Thinking that's where it would be addressed. I don't know, it may be someplace else. This is kind of silent on that, that's all. It's someplace else? Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure that we're not
Items
precluded.
new to the agenda,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And you're not looking at the blue, okay, yeah. Let's get him one, please.
Okay, so that one's good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Madam Chair, that concludes this memo for those areas of consensus.
Okay. Okay. And so we're ready to bring these forward. Okay.
Madam Chair, if you will turn your microphone on for DCTV.
Okay, we're ready to bring those forward. And I would assume that this would be on the committee of the whole on August 11th. I mean, not for the committee of the whole.
That's a BOC August
but on
11th.
the BOC, is the BOC August 11th?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, so we're ready to bring these on August 11th. Let's see if we can get through the other ones.
Madam Chair, would it be better to have it on the August 18th Committee of the Whole to then be considered for the 25th?
No,
agenda?
we're in committee of the whole now, and that's the reason we're going through it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
is there,
Okay.
unless it's an objection, I think that's what we're dealing with this with. That's the reason we're just dealing with rules.
Yeah, I was just
Today.
thinking about timing, that's all, in terms of
Okay.
the staff, central staff's time.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just thinking about, not about the work of this committee. I was thinking about just making sure that we go through the process to get it on the board's, official Board of Commissioners agenda. So
When do you have
that's
to
all.
do that for the August 11th? I mean, when do y'all have to do that?
Yeah, we'll work it out, and I wanted to give legal a little time too, but they may be sufficient. I was just trying to be on the safer side.
Legal already
That
been
when it
through
brings forward.
this, but then it's something that we haven't been through. So okay, well let's see. Let's see what we can do.
Okay.
It'd be good if we could go.
We'll
on and
push for
vote
the
on-
11th.
Yeah, it'd be good so that we can go on and deal with the charter review,
Okay.
and we'll be through with this. But he works 24/7.
He does. He's always here.
It's my man. He's always on the job. Okay, so now we got items for discussion.
That's the
Was this
second
in
memo.
addition to the memo?
What is this committee?
Did we want to approve this, what we've consented to, and then move on to the other items, or still keep the conversation going for all of it together?
Okay, well let's approve this. Okay, is there a motion to approve the items for consensus?
But just to make sure, is this a part of the memo before we approve everything else? Because it's number 6, committees.
That is a new piece that I crafted pursuant to direction from the chair and
Yeah.
Commissioner Patrick.
Okay.
And so
So that is
that's
their
not-
decision on if they want to hold that outside of the memo or try to get it added. to
No,
that.
but you know something? This is something that we haven't consented on.
That's correct.
Okay.
And so we're gonna go through and make a recommendation on that.
Right.
And then we'll send it to the board.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So a motion to approve the consensus items from the standing procedural rules for the August 11th BOC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry.
just Commissioner
Commissioner Terry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. No one told us you were on, Commissioner
oh,
Terry.
no, I didn't have a question, just in terms of the final version. I'm sorry, I hear feedback, so I'll just talk very slowly. Can you also make a red line version of what the final version we'll be looking at, the auction?
Yeah, we will after, because we only went back through the consensus right now. Now we're getting ready to go through the items that need discussion, need further discussion.
Okay, great, thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know if anyone said that he was on.
Well, he didn't have the link, so I didn't know he was actually on at this point, so
Okay,
he's on.
okay. Is he on the official link?
He's on the official one.
Okay. And that's what I asked. Do we have that in here? About,
Yes.
okay, we do. Okay. Okay. So,
Madam Chair, just for clarity, can central staff send out this consent document to all commissioners, and that way they're
yeah, I mean,
knowledgeable in
that's fine.
advance of our discussions that we've had here, and we're sort of
Yeah, that's fine.
working on the assumption we've all kind of agreed to this.
Okay,
language.
that's fine. So you want to send out
Just the consent,
the consent?
yeah,
Okay,
or the consensus, pardon me,
the
consensus items that we've talked
consensus.
about.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
Now, okay, so let's go with staff has directed to develop a list of standing procedures that the chairs requested. Okay, public comment. Okay, so let's go with the public comments first.
Okay. Committee, Madam Chair, this memo that you're looking at dated July the 9th is dealing with standing procedural rules that have not been discussed, or it's been discussed limited to this point, and we just
Well,
want
it
to...
has not had a consensus.
It's not had a consensus, absolutely.
Right.
And so we want to just continue down. There's 4 items on here, and we'll go to the 4th one, as the chair just mentioned, public comment rules and language. If you were to go to the public comment rules on the 2nd page of the memo that was just passed out to you, and I'll just read read what this paragraph says. There was a suggested language change that removed certain sections of the public comment rules. Multiple commissioners requested that the original language be preserved. This item was originally a part of the law list on that document, that items for review by the law department. There has been no change to the original language. So the item that is in discussion right now is under public comment is item number 6. It is that long text that the clerk reads out at the Board of Commissioners meeting. I think there was some desire to make changes. Well, there was some conversation to bring changes, but there has been no changes to the original language.
That's in here.
So unless there's a desire to make some changes to the public comment language.
Well, Demetrius is not here. So the public comment is to allow the public to comment.
Can you talk through what some of the suggestions were for commissioners? It looks like Commissioner Long Spears had quite a bit.
She did. And I think that was because, again, this goes back some time. Commissioner Rita Long Spears stated the following additional rules shall apply to the public comment. What did I say? Did I say Marita Long Spears?
You did.
Lord have mercy.
You did. You did.
She didn't even think I did. All right. Michelle Long Spears, the following additional rules shall apply to the public comment portion of each in-person commission meeting and should be read. And so this is the language that she provided here as well. The purpose of public comment is to allow the public to voice county-related requests, concerns, or opinions during the commission meeting. Speakers will only have the opportunity for one public comment per meeting. Each speaker must complete a speaker card and present it to the clerk before the beginning of the public comment portion of the meeting. I'm just looking to see what tracks from the old to what she had brought forward. Cards turned into the clerk from the time the general meeting is convened, generally 9 a.m., and by the beginning of the public comment portion, generally following presentations on the agenda. The clerk will accept cards on a first-come, first-served basis. Prior to the clerk's call for public comment, speakers who are residents of DeKalb County shall be allowed to speak before residents of other counties are allowed to speak. I do want to highlight that because I know that came up recently. I think there was a particular commissioner that highlighted that.
She sure did.
Oh, was that you? Oh,
What was
okay.
that?
Where in the last, was it public comment or public hearing? There were folks from other states and other counties speaking before DeKalb residents. So
Yeah.
we opted to give more time for our residents to have an opportunity to
Right.
share.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to highlight that. That's in the rules, and I think we just need to, whoever's
Execute.
chairing, exactly, execute that. Okay, once the public comment portion of the meeting begins, speaker cards will no longer be accepted. Speakers will be allowed to speak for 3 minutes each, and public comment shall not exceed 30 minutes in length. I do want to highlight one portion of this, and I think we need to come to a decision on this. There are times when people stand to give their public comments. The overwhelming majority of people take their full 3 minutes, but some do not. And so in that, and I don't know where the boards or this committee stands on that, but they just go with 10 speakers at the 3-minute allotment. Well, if there's a couple of speakers that don't take their full 3-minute allotment, technically there's not been 30 minutes of public comment.
Well, it should be, excuse me, it should be, someone should be keeping 30 minutes. Because what I understood,
Yeah,
because I keep 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I turn on my timer and I keep 30 minutes.
yeah.
So whether or not a speaker, because some speakers doesn't utilize all their time, and that gives other speakers an opportunity to speak. But in the 30 minutes, we're utilizing 30 minutes, the full 30 minutes for public speaking, is not based upon the time that each individual speak. It's the 30 minutes.
It's the 30 minutes. And it's just not as clean as I want it to be. And I don't know if that's language that should be reflected in here or not. Because there's times when I've calculated and it didn't quite add up. There's been no, but anyway, I just want to put a note in there.
Well, I think that should be an in-house
Yeah.
change. I mean, if y'all are not doing it and you say you are, that should be an
What's the
in-house.
clerk's office? We'll get
Yeah,
on that.
they get.
We'll make sure.
I mean, you've already told the public they get 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes to speak, with the total of time allotted 30 minutes. Now, so I think central staff should be monitoring each 3 minutes and the entirety of the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because if someone have not utilized the time, yeah, I mean, because we've had 11 and 12 speakers before. Because I write down each speaker as I'm trying to see who's gonna talk about me. But I write down each speaker as they come up, so I know that there has been over 10 speakers speaking. So that's something that y'all can deal with.
Gotcha. That's what I need to hear.
Okay.
All right. That's really all I want to hear.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. Commissioners, have you been tracking her change, her language in here? It doesn't appear to be that there's much.
It's just the
Difference.
last line in the blue book. It says
Okay.
abusive, profane, or derogatory language, holding up signs, clapping, yelling, standing, or laying in the aisles to show support for or opposition to. But her language changes: any behavior that disrupts the legislative procedural process is prohibited, but a show of hands or quietly standing in place, and then the rest is the same.
Okay.
What I would like to see, and tell me if that can be done, that this cannot be used as a campaign platform. You can't come before the county and campaign. And so I think that that needs to be very clear in these rules.
Commissioner, we'll gladly look at that.
Okay.
I think we have multiple issues tied up in your statement
Okay.
about not campaigning. For example, just as a classic, candidate Terry Phillips wears a shirt that says Terry Phillips for dog catcher.
And then Terry Phillips
for dog
comes to
catcher.
the stand and talk about why Terry Phillips should be elected.
Well, I'm arguing that those are
Yeah.
two different things.
Right, I understand.
Without the statements, I simply speak to an item,
Right,
but I'm wearing the shirt and now that's
Right.
broadcast.
right,
Right? Those dynamics we have to look at because it gets nuanced.
okay,
Right? You know, the hat, elect Terry Phillips dog catcher.
yeah.
All of that needs to be
Okay.
considered in your
And-
statement.
and
I think you're making a
that's what I
really
would like
important
to
point.
see, because then you limit the time for residents to have their concern and their statements when you have people coming up to the podium campaigning for free. And if they're going to campaign, we need to charge them the rate the lowest rate as they would do at Channel 2, or 5, or 11. You know.
We'll look at it, Commissioner.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Is that,
Okay, okay, let my commissioner speak, and then we'll come to you.
So I have two concerns, and I'm not sure if they could be addressed here or if this is just in-house, but I do want to make sure this is top of mind. So also with respect to campaigning, but folks passing out materials inside of the building at our meetings, I can understand outside of, but the passing out of materials within our meetings, and then
On our premises.
or on the premises. And then residents have brought to my attention, and I did send an email to the clerk's office. I'm not sure how we're addressing this, but we get folks who come early, fill out multiple cards for all of their people, hand them in, and then their folks can come in, you know, kind of drag their feet and come in when they get ready. And then there's not enough time for the people the other folks who were on time, which is why we get huge clusters of one subject, even though overall
Right.
our community members have a plethora of concerns they want to discuss. But if we could monitor how many cards an individual is able to turn in, that they're not turning in cards for people who are not present.
And when do they get those cards? When do they get those cards?
The cards are actually set up so they can pick them up when they come into the room.
Okay, so maybe that's something.
Directly to a member of the clerk's office.
Yeah, so then that's maybe something that central staff may want to look at as well, or the clerk's office, I don't know.
It's the clerk's office, but
The clerk's-
yeah.
That may be something that the clerk's office may want to look, because if someone is actually handing me a card, or I could pick up 10 cards, it makes a difference, and that's a good point.
Madam Chair, and to Dr. Bolton's position here, the current language says each speaker must complete a speaker card. So that speaks directly to this person, one card, one
Per
person. But I don't know if you want to add any additional language, or do you feel fine with
Well,
that?
I mean, if the cards are there, how do we know who's filling out for each person?
Yeah.
If somebody take 10 cards and start, how do we know?
I guess my
that-
point is, Commissioner, that the person who's speaking must hand it to county staff, whether it's the clerk.
Yeah, they hand it. It's already prepared,
Yeah.
and they hand it.
I mean, the person, though, the actual speaker is my point.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. That they have numerous cards that they know who's coming. They fill out those cards for people that are not there, but that's coming. Give them the card when they get there, and they're able to hand it.
Yeah.
So we need to correct that.
Okay.
And so we don't need the cards. We don't need the cards standing there. We need somebody handing out the cards. And I think that on those cards, you're affirming that you are the person that is filling it out. So we need
That's the point.
new language under penalty of perjury. I mean, that's what you do. Under penalty of perjury, you're the person that is filling out this card. Okay.
Let's
Well,
be
thank
careful,
you.
Commissioner. Let us look at that with you. There are some nuances we'll have to address. For example, a person who's unable to fill
Well,
out the
I mean,
card but wants an
yeah.
opportunity
Well, you know
to speak.
that.
But they're present.
You know, but they present
I
and somebody's
understand
doing
the
it for
goal.
them.
I just wanted us,
Yeah.
I wanted to say that for all of us in the room who are working on this
Yeah.
for the commission, it's nuanced, so we'll be
Right.
careful to give you the language. I get the spirit of the comment.
Yeah.
But we need to be
Okay.
careful
Yeah.
not to have a sledgehammer to kill a fly.
Yeah. Well, really, you may need the sledgehammer to kill the fly. You know? We got a big fly, you know, and it's reoccurring. And so it's not fair. And so I think the only thing, just like with voting, you know, you're affirming, and if that person is being assisted, is something that protects them based upon that. But if I'm taking 10 cards and I'm filling them out for people, and then they'll say, no, and they're not there, it's just not fair.
I understand the abuse that's being
Okay.
addressed.
Okay.
I get it.
Thank you. Thank you. And then,
Commissioner Terry.
okay, I know. I was trying to see if she was finished.
I yield back.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
do you have anything?
do.
We get our committee members first, and then, okay.
So when it comes to things that can be said during the meetings, I know when I was presiding officer, we had a situation where someone came up and said some uncivil language. And that caused a lot of ruckus, and then people were asked to leave the meeting room. I just want to make sure that whatever we're talking about when we're getting into language that can be spoken, even if it's not flattering to individuals like I've received recently, they do have a right to say what they want. That's the purpose of the residents being able to come and speak to us. Correct?
With limits.
With limits, okay.
With
Yeah,
limits.
because no foul. I mean, you can't curse somebody out up there. And then the presiding officer should have the right to determine what is appropriate as far as what we've put in the language, what is appropriate or not. And the mics can be turned off. And that's what I'd like to see, because if someone was cursing and using language that should not be used, the presiding officer say, cut off the mic, like I've done when I was presiding officer. You know, I mean, because we don't want that.
I'll just note, Commissioner, that.
And I believe, I'm a lawyer, you a lawyer, I believe in free speech, but you can't go to a movie theater and holler fire, and there's no fire. So there's limit on free speech.
Exactly. I just wanted to note that as a group, you had significant discussion about whether or not that language would be included. The list, abusive, profane, or derogatory language will not be permitted. And what you're speaking to, I believe, Madam Chair, is the discretion exercised by the presiding officer in interpreting whether or not the language being used at the moment constitutes abusive, derogatory. Profane is fairly objective. The other two take on a different connotation.
Okay.
But
I said foul.
I understand.
Is it? Okay.
I think those kinds of terms, what the language that's in front of us, just looking at the notes that Mr. May is reading from, I think Dr. Bolton and yourself, Madam Chair, asked that the express list of prohibited language and behavior be added back.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there a consequence? Because we've had, and I'll give a recent example, a candidate came in and spoke and used profanity and was able to sit down in the remainder of the meeting and then I think get back up again and speak during public hearing. So we have this list of things that we don't want them to do. In the event that they're done, and we see that they have been done on occasion, is it to the presiding officer's discretion what happens?
I think that was frankly a part of what Commissioner Messiah asked about, what consequences and repercussions would be involved and if they should be listed. We'll gladly look at how to manage consequences. For example, obviously disruptive behavior at the podium and a refusal to comply could result in removal from the auditorium and the person being ejected in order to leave the premises or something that strong. But we'll gladly look at that for you, Dr. Bolton.
Thank you. I yield back.
Okay, Commissioner Terry.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Terry, I didn't have my mic on.
There's a little bit of feedback. It's very difficult to participate in these meetings when I can hear myself speaking seconds later. Is there anything that can be done about that?
They're working on it. They're working on it, Commissioner Terry.
Okay, all right, I'll just, okay, that's better, thank you. I just wanted to ask the county attorney if he could just, be very diligent in their research about where our restrictions on public comment begin and end in the First Amendment comes in. And as distasteful as some things are said at public comment, I just don't think that we should be embarking upon what I think could be a slippery slope to potentially infringe on people's right to say what they got to say. I definitely support the restriction on abusive, profane language, I think that's very clear. I don't believe that we should limit it anything beyond that. And I just, would take issue generally with the notion that the Board of Commissioners should be considered a hammer and our public commenters, our residents, should be considered flies. I think we should just stay away from that metaphor. Let's just treat the public comment as an opportunity for people to say what they got to say and not overly restrict it. Thank you.
May I, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Received, Commissioner Terry, and I think that's an important point, but I want all of you to know that the restrictions imposed in public comments and a public forum are very, very nuanced. And there are a host of rules that govern what we can and cannot do. I hope this is a fair and easy example. There is Supreme Court case law on the county's ability to limit what county employees can say in those settings, and it's nuanced to the fact that it is an employee identifying themselves as an employee and then speaking to the public. So it's really nuanced, but we will gladly look at it. I received and heard loud and clear what you said, Commissioner Terry, and we will keep that in mind.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll get some on that. Okay. And that may be something that we have to bring back later. Okay, so moving on. But you got all of the points that we talked about campaigning, we talked about the cards, and did you? Huh?
The third one I noted was Dr. Bolton expressly asked that we looked at consequences and repercussions,
Right.
what I would really characterize as the enforcement component as
of
well.
it. And the presiding officer having the discretion. We can turn the mics off. Did you have one?
No, my concerns were taken care of, and
Okay.
Commissioner Terry basically
Okay.
reiterated those.
Okay, so the next item is meeting attendance. Number 9. Do make a note that these pages, it needs to number these pages.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Madam Chair, you said,
meeting attendance. You got it.
are we looking at the memo? Still the items
okay.
for discussion?
Yeah.
That memo has 4 items. We started with the 4th one, public comment rules and language. The next one would be telephone
It's
conference
not
rules
on here.
if we're moving our way upwards.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. I got so many papers up here. Okay. Okay, these are the, okay, and so, okay, hold on a second. We just did public comment.
We just did for number 4, legislative.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
No, we just did public comment. Okay, so let's talk about telephone conference rules. Okay. Okay, number 3. Thank you. Thank you. You doing a pretty good job over there, Lee.
We got a great team, Commissioner.
Yeah. Okay, teleconference.
Okay, that would be on the second page of the memo. Item number 3, telephone conference rules. Currently, that is not a section in the Blue Book. We would need to add that to, I would believe, in the meeting and attendance section of the Blue Book, and just add a new section that maybe is labeled telephone conference rules. The chair requested that staff develop language to be considered by the committee regarding phone conference calls for board meetings. And this is our recommendations for this language. It would read, this section would read, if a commissioner or guest speaker requires a telephone conference call to participate in a meeting, that telephone conference shall be facilitated by the Innovation and Technology Department. A participant in the meeting may not call a guest on their personal phone to speak at the meeting.
Right. And I think that if it is, I think the guest speaker should be taken out, because if it's a commissioner, it would be one of their guest speakers. And it shouldn't be the guest speaker that would initiate a call. It should be the commissioner on behalf of the guest speaker. So I think the guest speaker would not have the privilege of setting up a conference call. That would be on the commissioner. They would talk to the commissioner that invited them in to say that I need to have someone on the conference call. Okay.
If I may, Madam Chair, I would recommend that the language commissioner or guest speaker be deleted. And I'm going to read the sentence without that language in it
Okay.
and explain my recommendation.
Okay.
If a speaker requires a telephone conference call to participate in a meeting, that telephone conference shall be facilitated by the Innovation and Technology Department. That is the complete sentence. Who sets it up, who's requesting it, whether they're a commissioner, whether they are someone presenting, or whatever the circumstance is a distant second to the fact that the only way you're going to participate in a commission meeting or committee meeting, et cetera, is if you go through the formal IT facilitated telephone conference. You will not be participating otherwise, is my reason for saying take
Okay.
that language out, whoever
Now-
you are.
Now, my question is, that means anyone
Correct.
can, yeah, so, I mean, Joe Blow that want to give a public comment that's not here could use a conference call by going through IT.
May I respond, Madam
Yeah.
Chair? Only if the commission facilitated public comment by conference call. The commission would still control who gets to speak in their meeting. This is simply saying, if you are speaking and participating by
Okay,
telephone
I got you.
conference, you're doing it through IT.
See.
Whoever you
Right.
are, whatever your
Your
circumstances.
Oh, okay, I got you. I understand it. Okay, I got hands up. Okay,
Chair.
well, Robert, have a go.
Okay, go ahead.
My question to the county attorney would be, should we add a qualifier, so at the discretion of the presiding officer, and then the rest of the statement?
You could say that. I really think that we are adding the authority to speak at your meeting to the fact that what we're really addressing here is how you speak when you're not in the room. That's, and maybe I'm missing it. All this should address, to avoid conflating issues,
Right.
is the fact that if you are participating via teleconference,
It has
that
to
will
be
happen through IT,
IT.
period.
Right.
Whoever you refers to as a pronoun that's generic. That's why I'm suggesting we take it out. The authority to do so is covered in many other places.
Yeah,
Okay. So
okay,
there's,
I got you.
don't have the belt and suspenders, just the belt.
Well, you can put the belt and suspenders, but let me offer one tidbit, if I may, Mr. Williams. The thing, if you say presiding officer,
She'd have the authority.
when the presiding officer and Commissioner Phillips from District 8 disagree, Commissioner Phillips has an issue now, because the presiding officer is saying
No.
Commissioner Phillips can't have his consultant who did research at UGA call in from UGA.
Yeah. So, okay, okay, let me get, okay.
Just real quick, yeah.
and then you.
As long as staff, we can point to somewhere where that authority is granted. I like the idea of having, at the discretion of the chair or presiding officer. What I can't have is people going to IT directly. And so so I'm just looking for some place that I can.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Right.
I got you. And that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay.
And my concern is with the second sentence, with this last sentence specifically, identifying a personal phone. I think we should open that language up because it could be a county phone, it could be a tablet, it could be anything at all. Because that was some foolishness that we saw in that meeting.
Okay.
But I do believe that we should either take that sentence out or restate it because it's too restrictive.
Well, I agree with what Attorney Phillips said, that if it goes through, it's going through IT. And don't even have to identify what type of phone it is, because if it's not through IT, you can't do it. So now, the question that you had, the statement that you made, COO, I think is good, because you don't want everybody bombarding IT like they bombard legal.
May I, Madam Chair? Just out of respect for what I've heard, please tell me if this language works for you. I'm going to, again, read
Okay.
it with a slight tweak.
Okay.
If an authorized speaker requires a telephone conference call to participate in a meeting, that telephone conference shall be facilitated by the Innovation and Technology Department, period. By putting the word authorized in, it means that's it. Now, if you want to specify who authorizes, you can do that, but I want to make a point. Whenever anybody calls into this meeting, the only people who have the right to call, because you don't take public comment in this
Right.
committee meeting, if a commissioner calls, they don't get to speak till you say so. That's just how you run your committee. You can put in authorized by the chair, or a presiding officer authorized would do precisely what I heard COO Williams, and I'm not trying
Right, I
to decide,
got
I'm
you.
trying to help you with language to solve
got you.
this. So I would invite you to consider that language now.
Okay.
Based on the nonverbal feedback I think I'm getting, if a presiding officer or other authorized speaker, because if it's not the presiding officer, it's going to be the deputy presiding officer, the committee chair. You can list all of the above.
Right. Is that,
Yeah. I would, presiding officer or committee chair works for me. And I think that gives staff clear understanding that it doesn't happen without that authorization.
okay.
Let me read it one more time so we can all take.
Okay, well,
what
let
we're
me
saying.
see if Commissioner Terry have comments.
No, Madam Chair, thank you.
Okay. Okay, go on now.
May I read it?
Yeah.
All right. If a presiding officer, deputy presiding officer, or committee chair authorized speaker requires a telephone conference call, that's what you have now.
Can you read it all?
Yes,
Because, yeah.
I'm going to change it a little bit because I
Okay.
think it sounds better this way. If a speaker authorized by the presiding officer, deputy presiding officer, or committee chair requires a telephone conference call to participate in a meeting, that telephone conference call shall be facilitated by the Innovation Technology Department, period.
Period.
So removal of that last sentence.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm good.
No telephone would be permitted in that circumstance other than one IT
Right.
was using.
Right.
Unless I'm reading this wrong.
Right, you're right.
Yep.
Okay, so are we good with that? So do we want to move that one forward from the committee?
Yes.
Okay.
In the first batch that we did, I'd say 100%, let's move forward as we've already voted on that. I'd be comfortable bringing it to the BOC for conversation. I don't know if all members would be comfortable voting on it.
Well, I mean, they're going to have to vote on that. 5 members going to have to vote on the consent. 5 members, whatever we bring,
Yeah.
5 members going to have to vote on that.
Okay.
So, I mean, if we want to bring it out for them to vote on it, we can do that. So let's
Unless it requires.
do that. I mean, to vote on, let's do that. And then, see, he can send what we're sending out to the commission members prior to the next Board of Commission meeting. Okay, you got me?
I got you.
Yeah, okay. See, we won't be sending out the one on public comment because he has a lot to
To do with it.
do on that.
Yeah.
But if we've agreed that this one should go, so this one is going. That is the telephone conference to BOC August 12th,
And
August 11th.
are we consenting to where it may go as well? Because Mr. May suggested where it could go in the Blue Book.
Okay, well, central staff can figure that out.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, legislative sponsor and, am I right now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Legislative sponsor and review process. You want to read that?
Yeah, if I could, thank you, Madam Chair. We're going to do 1 and 2 together, essentially. So we'll start with
1 and 2?
Yeah, 1 is the legislative sponsor and review process, and then 2 is time limits for an agenda item to be removed
okay.
from the agenda.
I got it.
2 separate, but they do have some
Okay.
connection in terms of trying to land kind of at a place where our central staff would hear me say this a lot. You all heard me say this when I was interviewing for this position. You know, we really want to help increase the level of professionalism,
Right.
efficiency, and capacity. This is really on that efficiency standpoint. So
Okay, but let me say this. The time limits are different, in my opinion, to the sponsor, the legislative sponsor and review process. I think that is a independent section
Yes.
that should probably be heard before the time limits. And then we can deal with the time limits because the time limit is set once this process
Absolutely.
have taken place. So if we could deal with the legislative sponsor and review process first, because that's going to be a sort of complicated.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you. And absolutely correct. It's, this should start off first the way that it's
Okay.
ordered. So let's talk about the legislative sponsor and review process. You all began having a conversation back in February about a proposed policy review methodology for how agenda items, BOC-sponsored agenda items, how they get reviewed and ultimately land on the agenda as well. This is a proposal that we as central staff have really discussed in hearing from you all, and what we believe is really that it will help us really move the needle in terms of efficiency. So let's begin. Commissioners will begin. If you look at the proposed legislative resolution review process, Commissioner will develop a legislative proposal, or it could be just an idea or a fully formed resolution. But Commissioner develops his legislative proposal. The Commissioner then discusses the legislation with their fellow commissioners to acquire 2 additional sponsors for the legislation.
So that would mean you would have your original commissioner, and then you would have 2 additional commissioners.
Absolutely.
Okay, in addition to yourself.
Absolutely.
So it would be 3 commissioners that would bring it forward.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Third point on here, the legislation, after you get the 2 additional sponsors, will then be sent to central staff, to us, to undergo a review methodology, which includes operational review from the administration, as well as legal review from the law department. And then we would collectively have reviewed the legislation for it now to be number 4, submitted to the board for consideration via the Legistar system by the district staff. So whoever is the sponsor of the legislation, after the review, would then bring it forward to be submitted officially through the Legistar process.
Okay.
Okay? So now, just a quick recap. You got an idea. You have 2 additional co-sponsors. You have a review by central staff, by the administration, and by the law department. And now it's been submitted into the Legistar process. Now we go to point number 5. Once it's been submitted officially, the presiding officer will then determine which committee the proposed legislation will be discussed in and assigned to that committee to be presented at a committee of the whole.
Great.
Right. So now you have the item that has been submitted. The presiding officer says, all right, this is the committee of jurisdiction. We will send it to that committee for discussion within the committee process first. This is before it gets to the official Board of Commissioners agenda. All right, now let's go to item number 6.
Okay, so let's see if we can agree
Okay,
on that.
on that part. Okay.
And then,
Turn your microphone on if you could.
yeah, let's see if we can agree upon the proposed legislative resolution review process. And then we'll deal separately with the time frame.
Okay.
Okay, is there any questions on that? Okay.
I was just going to say I'm generally comfortable with what was presented up to point number 5.
Okay.
And I was going to communicate that when I first started, one of the questions that I think I asked everybody, but I know I definitely asked Commissioner Patrick, is how do you get an agenda item at the CAL or the BOC? And there was no straightforward answer. So this is extremely helpful for me. I think all new commissioners would appreciate this. But I do want to just discuss number 3 and 4 a little bit more.
Okay.
For
This is a resolution, this is not just an agenda item. You don't have to go through all this agenda item.
Well, when I started out, I didn't know how to do any of it. So it was just
This is just
open-ended
speaking to the
question.
resolutions.
So for the resolutions, and I'll start with 4 because I think we can get through that answer more quickly. Here it indicates that only, well, I see staff, and I assume this meant central staff would put it in Legistar, or
No.
does that also include district staff?
Actually, the district staff would actually be the one to officially put it in Legistar because it's sponsored by whoever the district commissioner is.
Okay, so after the staff review, is everybody, administration and central staff review?
Yes.
Okay.
And then it's ripe for the district staff to go ahead and officially put it in Legistar.
Okay, all right, so that's clear. And then on number 3, I could see someone being concerned that a particular department, whether it's law, central staff, or administration, they may have concerns about one of those entities holding up their resolution so that it could move forward. And we haven't gotten to time limit, so I don't know if this is included in the time where we are suggesting a time period that it can be held with law or central staff or whomever before it moves on to the next. And not that I'm suggesting it, I'm just saying I could foresee there being concerns that any one of those entities are holding up their specific resolution and wanting to move it forward, and how would they do that?
Yeah.
Could we say in normal course? Could we say in normal course? Or within a certain amount of time. Okay, go on, legal. Or,
I cannot speak for the administration and the departments who may have to review things. For law, I would ask that you just consider a specified period of time. I think 30 days is obviously a window where we have to get our work done and back to you. If you decided something shorter, we'd like an opportunity to look at that, but
okay,
a specified period of time would work for us.
okay.
Yes, and if I could, Madam Chair, and 30 days, sounds like it is feasible. I would love the opportunity to just kind of talk amongst some members of our team, because it's going to vary. Some items, 30 days is plenty of time. Some will require a level of research that may go beyond that. But if nothing else, we built in a service level agreement that said within 30 days you will have some sort of feedback, so that we can.
So is that like 30, 30, 30?
No,
Because
I
that's
would see it
60
as-
days. I mean, that's 90 days.
Yeah, I would see it as concurrent. I mean,
Okay,
the review-
concurrent, okay.
I would envision a team
Okay.
consisting of myself and/or my designee,
Okay,
Terry, his
okay.
designee, and Lee, his designee.
Okay, okay. I think that's reasonable.
May I, Madam Chair? I think the point Mr. Williams just made is critical, and we may need to put a caveat in here, because where we recognize that and you get that initial feedback, it would be appropriate to complete the work in
Right.
the amount of time necessary for some items.
Right.
And I say this with all due respect to the professionals that we work with in the administration. When we, the lawyers, change something, it may change their perspective. So there's going to be some collaboration and back and forth throughout that 30-day window.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Well, and I just want to close out my comment. And one of the reasons that I did not explicitly say that I supported a time frame is, number one, you mentioned it, COO, about things needing different periods of time. But also, I find a lot of value comes out of the discussions when the items come before the board and when we talk collectively, and then you take it back and you're able to add to it. So it'll be, in advance of that, I would say it would just be a preliminary product or review or address, but more, from what I've experienced, way more value comes after we've had an opportunity to discuss it as a whole unit. I yield back.
Well, if we're getting two, okay, I got you. If we're getting, okay, go on.
The way I understood this discussion, please help me if I'm misunderstanding. What COO Williams said was exactly right, and it would fit what you're describing, Dr. Bolton. This would be preliminary to make sure there's no obvious glaring issue. And then as the commission completed its work and had its dialogue, we would continue to monitor and give input offline to help you get to a finished product. This is just to avoid something that's glaringly and obviously an issue getting in the public domain before we've had
Right.
any chance to give any input. That's how I've received this.
Okay, okay,
I concur. That was going to be my point. I think
Okay.
this process helps to perfect the item, but there's so much value when you all get an opportunity to discuss all collectively,
Right.
all 7 commissioners as well. And I think this doesn't prohibit that. This actually just helps.
okay. Okay, do you have anything?
Nothing right now.
Okay, Commissioner Terry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things I'll flag for this proposal. So one, I'm trying to understand where the CEO's sort of allowances are to introduce resolutions that they would like on the agenda. Does it only take an action of them asking the presiding officer? Do they have to also get 3 commissioners to sponsor for, in essence, the same thing a commissioner would have to do? So that's one. Number 2, I think we're going to get ourselves caught up in kind of a catch-22 here, because since I've been commissioner, the law department has advised us that any 2 commissioners on the same committee are not allowed to meet with each other. And so basically what we're setting up here is requiring 3 commissioners to have to meet with each other to sponsor legislation which inevitably might conflict with committee membership. And so either we need to clarify the ability for commissioners to meet with each other below the 4 quorum threshold to discuss these policy matters, or we should consider a different sort of version, I think, of trying to get to this. I think what's the goal of this is to have a consensus-driven process. And so to that end, I might suggest that as opposed to requiring a 3-commissioner sponsored agenda item before it can even begin to be reviewed, instead consider maybe a committee level discussion requirement. For instance, if the committee chairs in each committee could have a biannual or quarterly opportunity for any commissioner to bring policy ideas to the committee of jurisdiction, seeking support or sponsorship, that might be a way for individual commissioners to bring policy ideas to the forefront, to the committee of jurisdiction, and use that as the vetting process, because naturally the committee processes and the committee jurisdictions are very important with a lot of the legislation that we deal with. And so I'd love for County Attorney Phillips just to, if you can, address any concerns with the committee members meeting outside of a committee, and then would love to further discuss the idea of my second proposal. Thank you.
Yeah, and of course I'm going to turn it over to Attorney Phillips, but I want to ask him a question. I would think that if I'm if I'm going to sponsor legislation and I need 2 additional sponsors, could I speak with a commissioner individually to explain specifically about my legislation, to explain what I'm trying to do and solicit their support on that particular piece of legislation, rather than having 3 people sitting around talking about legislation? And I would assume it would be specific to that legislation, not business of the county, other than the legislation that they would be sponsoring.
Madam Chair. I think the way this scheme is crafted by the central staff, inherent in step 3 and 4, would be the sponsoring commissioner who initially drafted the resolution, sharing that resolution, not necessarily meeting with colleagues, but sharing it in writing, hard copy, email, and then once they share it, they're soliciting support. And they may strategically share it. That's a business decision each of you would make when you sponsor an item. I'm going to share it with these 2 and ask them to support it, as opposed to just giving it to everyone, and get this initial support in that fashion. It could be done in writing. A second mechanism that is available without violating the Open Meetings Act is sending that individual sponsor commissioner's staff to get questions and meet with colleagues, so it's not 2 commissioners violating open meetings. For example, the 3 at the table now, Commissioner Patrick, you, Madam Chair, Davis Johnson, and Dr. Bolton, 2 of you cannot meet without creating a quorum of this committee. But what you can do is email each other. You can send a staff member to meet with one of the others and get questions, deliver answers, explain answers in positions, just to facilitate some of that communication. And I would defer to Chief of Staff May, but as I've understood this is preliminary, just to facilitate some communication and help the process on the front end. And those are the ways that you would do it without creating an issue of a committee quorum.
And you, to that effect.
Madam Chair.
Okay. Yes.
Their mic's not on.
Okay. Yes.
Oh,
And with my mic off, I asked Attorney Phillips if he could submit a memo to us to that effect, to go along with this piece of legislation.
Okay, understood. No, I appreciate that. And just a quick follow-up to County Attorney Phillips' point. I do think it does make sense. I did like that suggestion about staff meeting on things. I do, and my memory of the ops meeting that I think the memo is referring to, I remember us discussing, and this was in the rules, I thought, section, was related to two commissioners sponsoring and co-sponsoring, and I supported that because, you know, in a fair reading of Robert's rules, any two commissioners can bring a motion in a second and create discussion. And so I think if we're going to follow the spirit of Robert's Rules of Order, that in essence allows two commissioners with a motion in a second to initiate any discussion, that should apply also to the legislation. And so I would request that we, instead of making this a 3-commissioner threshold, simply make it a 2-commissioner threshold.
Well, my response to that is that we've been holding meetings to 3 and 4 o'clock in the evenings every day. And we need to be, every meeting. I think that we need to be more efficient. Everybody that I know requires more than one person. It was my initial request that there be a sponsor and that there be the initiating sponsor, the initiating commissioner plus 2 sponsors to sign off on resolutions and to go through this process. The same as we reduced our speaking time from 10 minutes, from 10 to 10, now from 5 to 3, is to be more efficient in what we're doing, to have a better consensus of what we're doing. And so I like the initiating sponsor plus 2. And once we get that, the initiating sponsor would only need 1 vote, 1 additional vote, to get that legislation through. And so it's we're really looking at the efficiency on that. And then it would give the law department, central staff, everybody have their own responsibility in this process. And so I think it would move more smoothly and quickly, and trying to get back to the meetings where we can at least have 2-minute comments like you all used to have, Lee. Y'all used to have comments, and you talked about every meeting. I remember when Hank was there, every meeting, they would have comments to let the public know what they've done, what they're going to do. We just haven't done that. And we haven't been able to even get through lunch. And so these are processes that will help us be more efficient to do the people's business and to move the county forward. So I would want to stay with the initiating commissioner and 2 sponsors.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I would love to continue discussing this. And I am reminded of my favorite quote from the 1990s hit "Mo Money, Mo Problems." When you got more money, you got more problems, and you got more things to do. And I think that if you look at our agenda, the reason why our agendas are so long is because we basically have a budget that is twice what it was 20 years ago. So I would just argue that the goal of this process shouldn't be to make our meetings quicker. I don't think that really serves democracy or the ability for commissioners to bring up important issues. What I'm observing is that commissioners are just more full-time and more active than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I think that's a good thing. And I would just suggest that we've abided by a rule that I think most governing bodies across the state follow, including the state legislature, including Congress. Any member of Congress, state house, state senate in Georgia, or any city council, county commissioners, for the most part, one commissioner, one elected official can introduce an agenda item. And so I just don't think, I think we're doing a slippery slope here where we're sort of saying, let's make the process more transparent and methodical, but we're also putting up a lot of barriers. So I would just really, really encourage us to not go too far. I think having two commissioners makes practical and logical sense. It's literally how you make a motion in a second in Robert's Rules of Order. And I think the natural result of having this 3-commission bar is that 2 commissioners will get together and we'll just start adding items to the agenda on our own and making comments about it of why we can't get a third sponsor. I think you're just going to create more chaos and more consternation amongst the body. Let everyone have a chance to at least work with one other commissioner to bring ideas forward. When you create this super minority requirement, it just stifles the ability for us to address issues. And I would ask that we really, really consider that before we move forward.
Okay, and then I would like to clarify the fact that I did not say quicker, I said more efficient. And I think it's a difference between quicker and efficient. And that's what we're trying to do, is to get more efficient. And thank you. Now, I don't know about Lee, but I'm going to talk about my husband 24 years ago. He was just as involved and just as active as I am today. And I think that those commissioners worked hard, and I remember all of them, they worked hard every day to push this county forward and dealing with the agendas that was brought before them. So I will not say that they were lack in what they've done. I mean, this commission, Hank's seat on this commission prompted him up to U.S. congressman. And so I think that his constituents understood what he did. I know I understood what he did because he came home every night and worked on commission business. And so I can't speak for Lee, but I would think that Lee would have been as diligent as Hank was at that time. And I could say Gail Wardroff, I remember all of them, you know. And Terry was here. I mean, he would know. So I would take exception. Oh, okay. Yes, I would take exception to the fact that the commissioners didn't do anything, or they were slighted. They were not working as hard as we're working now. I respect what they did. I mean, they brought the commission. I remember when DeKalb became DeKalb. You know, they brought us to where we are now. And so there was a lot of work that had to be done, that was done, and have brought us to this level. I think that disruption and chaos comes from the people, not the body. You know, we're all adults. We all respect each other, and hopefully we'll be able to move forward. But policies do not create that. People create that. And so hopefully we won't do that. County attorney, interim county attorney.
I just wanted to share. I worked in the late 90s as an assistant county attorney here in DeKalb and watched the season that you're referring to. And it's just my personal perspective in watching this commission over 28 years now consistently work to be more effective and more efficient. And one of the seminal points that I recall was changing the dollar threshold. We changed the dollar threshold where 85% of the contracts this commission had to approve represented 15% of the dollars. So the dollar threshold was raised just a little to move those items over and not require a review as a matter of efficiency. 85% of the county funds still went through the commission for the approval process, but the agenda shrunk dramatically because it was 85% of the contracts, small dollar contracts, represented by just 15% of the dollars. Those kinds of things have consistently happened over the 28 years by this body.
Thank you. And do you have any comment
Well,
on that?
I did want to say, I definitely hear you, Commissioner Terry, in terms of some of the cons. Let's talk about some of the pros, I think, for this. It encourages communication and conversation amongst commissioners. It encourages you to kind of bounce off ideas and get feedback early on. And I understand the difference between the one additional sponsor or the two additional sponsors as well. For me, I personally, I like the two, of course, because we really worked hard to do this, only because, not to prohibit anything from moving, but to actually help with the communication. I definitely heard your concern relative to the quorum issue. County Attorney and myself have been talking long and hard about that, and what are some ways to still be able to work together without violating those committee quorum issues as well. I think we have some solutions, but we're also working on some other things I think could help bring some relief to that as well. For me, it's all about efficiency. This is not about politics. It's about efficiency, not just in getting things on the agenda and dispense stuff quickly, but to really flesh out the ideas and the communication. One of the differences I will say that I've seen from my time and this time is just the working together, the communication of ideas, even with commissioners that didn't really get along well. We spent robust amount of time talking about ideas, creating, crafting resolutions, and that's when the good stuff really happened. And that's what the attempt of this is for this methodology.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair.
Yes, and we're gonna go on. This would be the last comment on this.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be brief. I do want to just acknowledge, again, something that I was saying earlier. I wasn't saying the previous board wasn't doing things. There was a lot going on back in the day, so I'm not going to try to judge that. I'm just, pointing out factually that, for instance, the PWI committee literally has twice the number of watershed contracts and dollars that we have to go through. So I think there's just functionally there's aspects of our government where we're spending a lot more money, and so we just have to have more audits, more reviews. There's just more to it, and so that's a big part of the agenda. And I think because of that, what's happening in the committees is that commissioner-sponsored items are not actually getting hearings. I can point out the fact that I've had several items on different committees for months now that have not actually been called to present on. So if an item just sits in a committee and is never heard, it literally will just continue to be on the agenda, and that does slow things down. So I appreciate and I definitely support efficiency and making sure that we're being thoughtful with the time that we spend in the board meetings where we have to take action. What I'm hearing when I hear efficiency, I'm also hearing stifling speech. And so again, I wasn't in favor of changing the one commissioner rule. I think it's been a fine, rule to begin with, but I heard my colleagues say they wanted to make things more efficient. Central staff wanted to create more vetting. And so that's why I did support the last meeting, which I remember it being a 2 commissioner threshold. So the 3 commissioner threshold to me wasn't, maybe it was a consensus on the ops committee, but I haven't heard that consensus at the whole body. And so I would just ask the central staff, go back through and poll all the commissioners, one, on that consensus, and then give us all an opportunity to debate this particular issue, because I think ultimately this is a major decision which would have implications for every commissioner. And then finally, I will applaud the central staff for pointing out a best practice in regards to an Office of Legislative Counsel. I would simply argue that those other bodies that have best practices on legislative policy research do have Office of Legislative Counsel, which helps commissioners draft legislation and work through these issues. And so if we were to go to the 3-vote threshold, I would respectfully request that we have an Office of Legislative Counsel, which I do believe would help facilitate greater cooperation on key policy areas. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments, Commissioner Terry. Do we have a motion on this item?
Yeah, motion to advance legislative sponsor and review process as proposed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And do understand, everyone, I won't say just commission, do understand that we have to bring this to the board to vote, and it has to be 5 votes on it. Okay, so the next one is the time limit.
Well, Madam Chair, if I could. We stopped at still the first item, the legislative sponsor and review process. We stopped at number 5. And then, so we have items number 6, 7, and 8, if you all want to discuss that
okay.
as a part of it. Because
You
I
know
think
something?
it sounded like the.
I don't copy on the back.
That's.
Y'all copy on the back. Okay, I'm sorry. So we have to,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry.
So it sounded like Dr. Bolton wanted to kind of separate the conversations between kind of the process for submitting and all of that with the time limits in committee. Am I right in hearing your feedback on that?
I think that was Commissioner Davis Jones.
Yeah, that
Okay,
was
so
me.
we're good. Okay, all right. I just want to make.
Do we need to motion to reconsider?
No, I think that this
No,
deals with
it's all
the time
consuming.
limit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that this
for
should be
6, 7,
part.
and 8. Okay. I
Yeah,
got
so
you.
6, 7, and 8 was a part of it. I just wanted to make sure
That
that
was-
y'all
yeah.
understood that. Okay.
And should that be under the time limits? Because these are dealing with time that,
Well, so just real quick, because I didn't go through 6, 7, and 8. Once in committee, I think this is very helpful to.
okay,
to
so we need to reconsider until we
Okay.
go through.
Okay.
Is there a motion to reconsider?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So item number 6, after assignment, after the legislation is assigned to a committee, the committee will have a total of 6 consecutive.
4.
4, I'm sorry, 4, yeah. 4 consecutive, excuse me, County Attorney. What was the actual language you said for not regularly scheduled, but?
I use different. I'm sorry. I use different language because I was placing this elsewhere. I referred to it as a committee cycle.
Okay, committee
And
cycle, yes.
your language in paragraph 6 as presented, consecutive regularly scheduled meetings is important.
Yeah.
And your distinction about specially called.
Yeah.
This sets essentially a 3-month window as you've crafted it, which I had some alternative language. I think the bigger issue, and I'm bouncing a little bit, Madam Chair, the bigger issue is the timing for an item in a committee would likely go in a different place in the agenda than how something gets on your agenda.
Okay.
And bunching this together could create a placement challenge in your blue book because they're in different sections.
So this should be in a different section.
I think so.
Number
I thought,
6.
that's what I was thinking. too.
Right. 6, 7, and 8 could be left off of this. In 1 through 5, you've addressed how an item gets added.
Right.
And how it gets to committee.
Right.
And stop there
And
for
stop there.
this process. Separately, you would address, once in committee, how an
How
item
it-
moves.
That's a
Okay.
different section
Okay.
Right,
in the blue
and
book.
there's a different nuance that I think is
Right.
equally important, just to complete my thought. This is for resolutions only. How items generally have a timetable through committee is addressed separately. And that would include resolutions, but it wouldn't be limited
Right.
to resolutions.
Right.
Which is another reason why I would bifurcate the two
Okay.
discussions.
Well, with that, do we need another motion to
To reconsider,
what we voted?
No, that's perfect.
Okay. So how would we do that? To
Just
I
make the
will make-
motion again.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad.
No, I was just going to answer the presiding officer's question. I thought you were asking me how you would separate these. The
No, not separate. We've already voted on 1 through 5. So what do we do now? And
Yeah.
we voted on the reconsideration.
Right, you would again vote to approve 1 through 5
Okay.
only.
So Robert,
Make a motion to approve items 1 through 5 as part of the legislative sponsor and review process.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Now, so the time frame, and that's the last, would that go under the time limits for the agenda items? Would that be separate than would that go under that, or would that need to be a separate?
If I'm following your question, Madam Chair, the legislative sponsor review process,
No, 2.
the time limits, the time limits is separate.
Oh, okay, the time.
That's a
limit.
separate issue.
Okay, and then you
Completely.
have time limits for the legislative review
Correct.
process. Okay. Okay, so y'all want to go through those two? Those 6, 7, and,
What's the heading for 6, 7, and 8?
6, 7, and 8 would go with time limits. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Legislative sponsorship is what you've just dealt with in 1 through 5.
So you move 6, 7, and 8 under bullet 2.
Correct.
And there is some expected additional language outside of 6, 7, and 8 that would go with number 2.
Right.
Okay.
It's not, it's really an alternative that was crafted outside of the process central staff was working on.
so after assignment, the committee will have 4 consecutive regularly scheduled meetings. After assignment, the committee will have, oh, well, that's you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
That's fine. After assignment, the committee will have a total of 4 consecutive regularly scheduled meetings to adjudicate the item. Special call meetings do not count towards the 4 meetings. Additionally, if a regularly scheduled meeting is canceled, it does not impede the cycle of meetings. So if I can just kind of explain real quick what 6 is. 6 is really connected to legislation going to a committee and dying a horrible death or never being heard of. This still gives someone who you could say has a minority vote, may not have 4 votes, they still have a process by which their legislation, after going through the appropriate process that you all just voted on 1 through 5, after going through that process, they could still be assured that they will have their day to discuss this on the official Board of Commissioners
Okay.
agenda. So this is intended to give a timeline of what that looks like. So let's go to number 7, if you would.
Okay.
Any questions around number 6 before I go to 7 and 8? Because it's all kind of connected.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes,
I have to leave for a 12 noon appointment, but I actually realized I didn't. I'm looking at the memo that was sent. I don't have the other document, so could Central Staff please send that to me?
You'll have that.
And then I'll respond back with any other comments. to the board.
Absolutely. You'll have that by the end of the day, and we can talk offline if you want to as well to explain it a little deeper.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm signing off now. Thank you, Madam
okay,
Chair.
thank you.
All right. Well, number 7, proposed legislation may return to the full board at a Board of Commissioners meeting with a recommendation from committee after 2 readings / discussions in committee. This really comes from how the state actually operates. When an item goes to committee at the state level, there has to be read twice before it can come out to the full body. There's a lot of other procedural things as well.
Okay.
But this makes sure that any item that's brought forward will have 2 times in committee to be discussed.
Okay.
That's number 7. Number 8 is still connected to this. If an item has not been discussed once in committee after 4 regularly scheduled meetings, it may return to the full board for discussion with no recommendation. Again, this is a line. If the chair just has not given it a reading or 2 readings, the sponsor of that legislation can rest assured that it will ultimately get to the Board of Commissioners in its due time,
Okay.
according to these little
Do y'all
these
have any-
particular bullets.
Y'all have any comments, questions? Okay.
I want to clarify for number 8, where it says if an item has not been discussed once in committee, that's not indicative of a number of times it's been discussed. It's more in addressing the location of the item. I hope that makes sense. The way once is used here, it's not saying that it hasn't been read once, but
Really, it's if it's not been discussed at all.
that it's reached committee.
Yeah, it's definitely a reached committee at this point. It has
The
been
usage
That's
of the
after
word
1 through
once,
5.
the usage of the word once specifically, it's indicating that it's reached committee, not the number 1. Read it to yourself twice, using each of the means.
Just remove the word once. Is that what you're saying?
But y'all understand what I'm asking? Okay.
Reach committee.
I'm just slow.
So it's not indicating the number of times.
Yeah, so we'll remove that word.
Okay. Okay,
It's just saying it
Okay.
has
Has not
reached
been
committee.
discussed in committee.
Okay.
right. Okay.
I'm again stating that the way this entire construct is drafted, it is for resolutions.
Right.
And I think the timing of any item should be addressed separately, because this is just for resolutions.
Right.
When you tack it on. So I know you've removed it, but think in the broader context of when an item comes and it goes to committee, how long does it stay and what happens to it? That's what this is really describing now that it's been separated. Any item.
And so this is time limits for resolutions.
Well,
And-
you've separated it, so I'm just asking that you think of it in the larger context of all items.
Well, we have, number 2 is time limits for agenda items to be removed from the agenda. So that's a separate,
But now 6, 7, and 8 are fitting under that.
no, 6, 7, and 8 has a new category, and that's time limits for resolutions.
I understand, Madam Presiding Officer. What I'm asking this committee to consider
Okay.
is to not make a separate time limit for resolutions, but to include this in the larger discussion for all
For all
items.
agendas?
Yes, any item that goes to committee, what's the time limit? And let resolutions fit that time limit as well.
Oh, okay.
Madam Chair, if I could.
Okay.
Including items from the administration, so,
Yes.
okay.
Well, that's,
We may have purchasing items or something.
yeah.
Well, that's
I
what
mean,
I'm
that-
thinking, yeah.
because agenda items, yeah, when you deal with agenda items and resolutions, yeah, they're somewhat different.
How they're managed in committee is listed in your blue book,
I understand,
and it's not separate.
I
And
understand.
adding a timetable to that by piecemeal changes the way that's addressed.
Uh-huh. Well, you know, with agenda items, you can walk them on, and if it's necessary to pass that same day, you can do that. But, okay, what are you saying, Robert? Oh, is this right here?
I think this should be part of the conversation.
Oh, okay, well, see, you didn't, okay. Committees on there. Okay.
May I, Madam Presiding Officer? If we all look at the blue book as it exists, under Roman numeral 6 committees, which is what we're talking about, paragraph 5, recommendation.
Okay.
That is the context in which we would address, in my opinion, the timetable for an item in committee. In paragraph 5, Committees only give recommendations with respect to agenda items. These recommendations include but are not limited to, and then you have A through F as options. Then you have the closing paragraph. For committee meetings which consist of an even number of members in attendance, a tie vote will be reported as a tie vote on recommendations. Committee recommendations are non-binding and shall not indefinitely delay consideration of an agenda item by the commission. What's missing is a timetable for items and an automatic mechanism to move items back to the full body. And a proposal to do that would include all items as this covers, resolutions or whatever else it may be. And what you have is a proposal for tweaking this section to cover that construct. And it could include resolutions very
Right.
easily, as well as contracts or any and everything else, with full flexibility, but some automatic timing.
Right.
Is what's in front of you.
Right, I see. Do you see that?
This is what I showed.
Do you see that? Because, yeah, if something comes, we still have the ability to recommend approval, recommend deferral, recommend approval upon receipt of additional information, recommend holding in committee, recommend withdrawal, and no recommendation, expired committee cycle. I see what you're saying, because you first, with the resolutions, you first had to get 1 through 5. And after 1 through 5, this is it. So you have the flexibility. Okay.
May I walk everyone through that? Because we're referencing it, and we've not really discussed it. I just want to
Okay.
explain
Well,
what
right
this is.
quick.
Okay. What I read is in the Blue Book.
Right.
If you add one additional option of a recommendation, it would be
Expired committee.
letter G, expired committee cycle. And then you would add a paragraph right after that. If an item remains assigned to a committee for 3 consecutive months without a recommendation, the clerk shall automatically place it on the commission agenda marked expired committee cycle. At that point, you could go back to anything you want. We're going to send it back to committee. We're going to withdraw it from the agenda. It prevents an item from living in purgatory and sitting in committee
I got you.
indefinitely.
I got
It's an automatic cycle to bring it back because the committee hadn't said anything. I want to be very clear. The committee today, this committee, on agenda item 2026-0989, said we recommend holding in committee because the item's still in audit. That prevents it from having an expired committee cycle. You've now ruled on it.
Yeah,
You've
we got
taken
it.
action. So 90 days from today, you revisit that. If you've done nothing 90 days from today, it goes to the board,
Right.
and you would have that discussion. Oh, it's still in audit. We need to send it back to
Yeah,
committee.
I got you.
Or we can withdraw it, or whatever the body decided. It's
Right.
just an automatic mechanism
Right.
to move things.
So I think it's good. Do y'all have questions about it? You have questions about it? Yeah, I think it's good for the resolutions, for everything. Okay, so let's,
Can I offer one other thing for complete?
yeah, this is it, because the only thing that we're gonna be holding back is the public comment. The rest of the things, we're gonna vote on it on August 11th. Okay,
If you look at Section 3, Agenda and Parliamentary Items, under number 1, Paragraph D, the commission should only act on an item assigned to a committee after it's heard by the committee and committee recommendation is rendered. If an agenda item is assigned to committee and the committee does not render a recommendation or meet between introduction and the time an item is to appear before the commission, then those agenda items may still be acted upon by the commission. The record will note that no committee meeting was held or recommendation given on that item. What we've proposed would supplement that section, supplement where it's written, And instead of that just happening with no indication of why, you'd now have that expired committee cycle go in.
Right.
And then something would happen. Either you'd move to withdraw,
Right.
move to
I
send
got
back,
you.
or whatever.
I got you. Okay, Zach, you have any questions on that?
It's good. It works.
And Madam Chair, and just to put a fine point on that, what Mr. Phillips just highlighted will replace 6, 7, and 8. Now, I
Right.
just want to make sure.
Right. Okay, sure would. Okay.
Yes.
Good. 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so, and then it would also replace time limits for agenda items. Or would that be in, that would be part of this? Yes. Okay.
This
Is there-
creates the time limit
Right.
for
this
committee
is the
process.
time. Okay, so, okay, so is there a motion on that?
I don't even know how to say it.
Motion to recommend,
How about motion to approve the recommended Section 6 committees, Recommendation 5, specifically G and the following paragraph? Does that cover it?
is that,
How about this, Commissioners? A motion to replace section, Roman numeral 6, subsection 5, with the revised version discussed in committee today.
So move.
motion to replace,
Roman numeral 6 committees, section 5, recommendations.
okay.
With the alternative, you have the alternative here. You're replacing
Okay,
it with this
right here,
alternative.
With this?
Yes.
Okay,
And that includes what's on this red line and 6.
It
No,
just
just the
includes,
red
it
line.
just
That
includes
includes
what's on
what's
this
on
page.
this.
This will become your section 5.
5, right.
What's red is the new part, but this whole thing will be section 5 now.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that concludes the Blue Book. Give y'all self a hand. We've got, well, the Blue Book manners public hearing. And so we will deal with that after the break.
Well, Madam Presiding Officer, public comment, which is different than public hearing. There'll be some
mean-
overlap, but public
Public
comment is
comment.
what the instructions for public
Right.
comment are what you directed me to visit and rewrite.
Right.
Okay.
Well, public comment, and, do they do the same? Did you hear any complaints about them doing the same with public comment? I mean, with public hearing?
May I offer this with all due respect? The comments, the instructions for public comment are different than the instructions for public hearing.
okay.
But what you've asked us to write will apply and cover those concerns if they surface during public hearing.
Okay.
It's really going to cover the rules for someone coming to the podium and speaking to you guys.
Right.
That's what I'm going to rewrite.
Okay. And if we ask, can we put in that Amos can remove anybody that he feels that's causing problems, huh?
My only concern is if you do that, he'll remove me.
Okay, thank y'all so much. We have been able to get through this Blue Book, and we will vote on it. And once we get the section done on public comment, we will just move forward on the charter review to hopefully get it in before the legislative session begins.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank y'all. Is there a motion to,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank y'all.